Alexander Nevsky. Alexander Nevsky.
I haven't seen Alexander Nevsky.
Nevsky.
Well, there's this gigantic battle on the ice.
I don't hold that against you. Do you really? I don't hold that against you.
It's a long one. It's a long one. But there's
It's not that long.
There's this famous. It feels long.
No, it doesn't. It's like one action scene after another.
I think it's like 60 minutes long.
It's like 90 minutes. 90 minutes of fucking horses on ice. And
there's this big,
action.
gigantic, amazing battle on ice, and it's just incredible.
Nevsky.
I mean, you had me at fucking horses on ice.
Yeah, horses on ice.
No, it's one of the great battles. Well, again, you have to remember, like for the first 40 years of cinema, anybody's description of great action directing meant directing battles, because that was what people thought of when they thought of big action sequences, battles. And the one is of the Russians and the Germans fighting on the frozen lake. All right, in their horses and in their armor. In Alexander Nevsky. Alexander Nevsky. Alexander Nevsky.
I haven't seen Alexander Nevsky.
Nevsky.
I have a situation sort of like that. That was a wild thing. I set it all up, and the actor ended up saying the line. I couldn't believe it. The great wild man character actor Timothy Carey kind of came in for Reservoir Dogs. And I was just so excited. Oh my God, Timothy Carey's outside. And he shows up with his son, Romeo. And they sit down and he's talking about the script and he really likes it. And I go, well, there's that scene of you in a Passive Glory when you're in this jail cell and the next morning they're going to take you guys out and shoot them. And Joe Jerkel does that whole bit. He goes, see, tomorrow, that cockroach will have more to do with my wife and child than I will have.
It'll have more contact with my wife and child than I will.
And I said the whole thing, and I'm just doing it just exactly like Joe Turkel. And then he's sitting right next to my desk, and Timothy Carey, boom, slaps the imaginary cockroach and goes, now you got the edge.
Now you got the edge on him.
I wanted to masturbate.
Gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs.
Okay, Apocalypse Now, which was, to me, Rocky was my personal favorite movie, but Apocalypse Now was the movie of the year,
right,
as far as I was concerned. And I took the bus to Hollywood to see it at the Cinerama Dome and got the program that they gave out. And I still have the Life magazine with Brando on the cover.
Oh, wow.
I was into everything about Apocalypse Now. I've been reading about it for years. Couldn't wait to see it. That's one that I imagine being one of the guys on the boat. That would have been amazing.
There's this really great story about Francis Ford Coppola doing all the whole Robert Duvall sequences in Apocalypse Now. And, they're using the helicopters to the Filipino airport, and he's paying for everything himself, and this just all the incredible pressures of trying to do this. It's almost unimaginable. But him and Victoria Storaro come up with realize, much to his horrible chagrin, because he needs to get footage shot, much to his horrible chagrin, that if the helicopters aren't in the background, it just doesn't work. It's just dead. You can't have just the helicopters a little bit. After you've established the helicopters have to be flying in the air behind every single solitary shot. Okay, no, I didn't quite have as much of a problem as Francis Ford Coppola did, but I did tell the people, I go, look, if there's any shot in Swan Ranch, I need to have a dog in the background. I mean, there can never be a shot that I don't see a dog doing something, because that was kind of what it was like. They had a lot of dogs there, and that means the place is alive. Yeah. That means it's living. That means it's crawling. That means it's got fleas. And that means it's scrounging. And it's just there's a movement. There's always movement going on. The place is alive, and there's always some living thing running from one pile of trash to another. Right. In the background, just keep it going.
Horror has a face. And you must make a friend of horror.
Well, there's a whole speech in Apocalypse Now when Brando's Kurt tells the story of going into the village and inoculating all of the children in the village, shooting their arms with flu shots or something like that, inoculating them. And then the soldiers came in and then hacked off all the kids' arms. And then there's like a little pile of arms.
There they were, in a pile of little arms.
And Kurt says, so we did all that, and then we came back in the village the next day and we saw the little pile of all the little arms in there where they hacked them off. And I cried like a baby. Then I started thinking, the genius of that.
And I thought, my God, the genius of that.
the genius of that, because these are not monsters. They're not demons. These are men doing a job.
But these were not monsters. These were men, trained cadres.
And they had the force of will to take the job and take it to its logical conclusion of what they had to do.
The genius, the will to do that.
All right, I'm not condoning what Kurtz is saying. Kurtz is a fucking crazy person. Right. All right, but I'm interested in his perspective. But of course, of course, that would be Kurtz's perspective, where he's a god. He's a god, worshipped by these natives. Yeah. He's completely lost his mind in the fog of war. But he's talking like Genghis Khan.
I like Full Metal Jacket.
It's Boys and Company C, but
I will say one of the things that's special about Full Metal Jacket to me is obviously I knew who Stanley Kubrick was when I went to the movies and saw The Shining, but it wasn't until Full Metal Jacket that I really, really knew who Stanley Kubrick was.
Yeah.
I had seen a bunch of his other movies at revival houses by that time. So this was the first time completely plugged in to exactly who Stanley Kubrick is. And a new one is opening. And I'm seeing it on opening night. That was the first time, actually the only time that ever happened.
Did it live up to that anticipation?
Yeah, I did.
The creative mojo is there for a while. And then we see the spigot start to dry up a little bit, or it's not flowing the way it was. And, there is that time where there is just an excitement around a director or any kind of artist where they're at a certain place and their new work is exciting. Yeah. And it's an event. And you keep coming for that. And then there's when it stops being less exciting, and where it's just not as an event anymore, and they're not quite working with the same amount of passion or the same amount of drive as they had before. I mean, one of the directors that managed to overcome it to quite a degree was Stanley Kubrick, but the way he overcame it was by not making a movie.
Very deliberate,
yeah,
to say the
exactly.
least.
Every 7 years. Right. All right. Well, but that goes a long way of why he didn't burn out.
Yeah.
He lived a life, and he devoted years into pre-production, and then however long it took to make the film. And so each movie was a big deal, and it was an artistic achievement that whether you accepted it or rejected it, it was what it was. And it wasn't just making a movie because he didn't know how to do anything else.
Right.
Steven Spielberg.
Because?
He's just such a perfect filmmaker as far as and I talked to him about Private Ryan. He goes, "Oh, we're going to create the greatest taking of Omaha Beach ever," and I have no doubt he will. All right, he's just a master movie maker.
This is a film he's making now.
Exactly, this one coming out, and I'm sure he's going to do the greatest taking of Omaha Beach ever captured in cinema, on film ever. That kind of filmmaking language. I think I've got it too, but in a different way. But I could learn something from him. Okay. I could definitely learn something from him.
Spielberg is one.
Spielberg would be one.
All right, so now we go to number one, and this would not have been what I thought would have been my number one. Asian? No. I am choosing as my number one film of the 21st century, Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down is it's based on a true story. It takes place during the war in Somalia, and basically a bunch of Air Force helicopter guys and Rangers who are driving on the ground, they're put into a situation, and it has so much resonance with the whole Israel-Palestinian fight going on, because it's a situation where they are soldiers, they're military soldiers, but they're put into a position where they have to do police actions. So the idea is they're sent into a bad area where all the bad guys are, to just kind of swoop in there and arrest these 6 guys and get out. And the whole thing is supposed to be an hour, and so there's the guys on the ground who are picking up the guys, and there's the helicopters above to watch them. And so it's a police action, basically, was what they're being sent to do. But they're sent in there to do this quick in and out police action, and then it turns out the rebel Somalians that are fighting them, that's when they stage their Battle of the Bulge against them. And they're trapped behind enemy lines with just the enemy just coming in, like in a Battle of the Bulge type of onslaught. And a helicopter is taken down, a Black Hawk is taken down, and now they can't leave because they got to go and try to help the guys. And then another one gets taken down, and so now it's a clusterfuck. And now they're just fighting through every, and the Somalians are amassing, and then there's, it's almost like a 50s cavalry movie at a certain point with the waves. And I liked it when I first saw it, but I actually think it was so intense that it stopped working for me.
That's why I've never seen it again, because I felt the same way.
Yeah. And I didn't carry it with me. I didn't carry it with me the way like I think I should have. And I kind of knew I should have. I knew, that was a good movie, but it was just, I don't know. It didn't give me anything to hold on to other than its intensity. Since then, I've seen it a couple of times, not a bunch of times, a couple of times since then. Well, I think it's a masterwork, and I think the masterwork, what I like about it is obvious if you just sit down and watch it, all right? Even if, I'm sure even remembering of it. But the thing is, though, one of the things that I love so much about it is, you said something on your podcast that I've repeated a few different times. It really stayed with me. It was one of the, you say a lot of cool things on your podcast, but one of the things that really, really stayed with me, a little nugget that I keep in a little box, is Todd was showing you some TikTok video, and you watched it and you go, wow, this has 6 million hits or whatever, and you watched the TikTok video, and when it's over you said, and this is why your generation isn't making Apocalypse Now. And that's just so funny to me. I think that is just so clever and so witty, and it can be used again and again. It can be repurposed, at your leisure, all right, depending on who you're talking to. I think this is the only movie, and look, Dunkirk tries for a Apocalypse Now kind of bigness. I would even say Kill Bill tries for an Apocalypse Now bigness. I would say Fury Road tries for an Apocalypse Now bigness, and even maybe has a shooting schedule semi-similar to it. Black Hawk Down is really the only one that actually goes completely for an Apocalypse Now kind of sense of purpose and visual effect and feeling, and I think it achieves it. It actually achieves it achieves what it's after. And not only that, Apocalypse Now is different. It's like a big novel on screen with characters that you get to really know and get to feel. And this is not that. No. This almost the anonymousness of the guys is almost part of it. Yeah. But he kind of does the impossible. He does the helicopter scene for fucking 2 hours and 45 fucking minutes. Or however long that movie is. It kind of keeps up the intensity to an incredible amount. I watched it again recently. I watched it again recently, but since I was going to make it my number one, this was the one I watched last night before I came here. My heart was going through like the entire running time of the movie. It had me. It had me and never let me go. And I hadn't seen it in a while. So you can't remember all those different incidences. So you can kind of see it again and again. And it's always a new movie to you to some degree. You know what I mean? I'm just, the feat of direction is beyond extraordinary. It has things, Fury Road captures some of that intensity and grandiosity and operatic effects. But it also has a bunch of stupid shit in it. There's no stupid shit in Black Hawk Down. There's like no apologies whatsoever in Black Hawk Down except for one little thing. And I'll talk about that little thing right now. Is one of the things that's also so great to watch it now is to see all those actors, to see all those fresh face actors. And like, there's some guys from the 90s that are still hanging around that are in there. And there's a whole bunch of new guys that are going to be out in everything. And it's kind of cool that they don't really have characters. All right. They're just their faces and they're just kind of filling it in. Jeremy Piven was one of my favorite guys. All right. And you get to know, you're able to, especially since they all look alike, you're actually able to hold a lot of the guys in your heads, and a lot of them get wiped out, and you're totally rooting for your guys. You want, like, your group of 4 or 5 to get through it, and a lot of them don't make it. If there is a negative, and they do it so well, it's not a negative, but it still has an effect. It still has an effect because he's using a lot of cool, hot, good actors in there. There's an overabundance of British actors in there pretending to be American. And there's too much. And it's the only fraudulent thing in the movie. There is this aspect that you're watching this through phantoms a little bit, because so many Brits are trying to be American, and that really, really bugs me. Now, I actually think they all do a pretty good job of it, but it is a phantom quality to it. Oddly enough, it's one of the reasons why Josh Hartnett actually can be so effective in the movie, because at least he's a fucking American. And mixing with these British phantomness, I've never liked Thomas Sizemore in anything. In this movie, he's like a character actor superstar in the film because he's so authentic compared to the Brits. I don't pay for pussy. Yeah.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy. Yeah.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy. Pay for pussy. I don't pay for pussy. Yeah.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy. Yeah.
Need a hand job.
I don't pay for pussy. Pay for pussy. I don't pay for pussy.